positivity, motivation. Never settle for average. You know how we do it over here. You know, I'm always trying to drop a little jewels on you guys and share some positivity. But at the end of the day, it's up to you what you choose to do with your life. If you want to live life looking over your shoulder, worrying about what you've done in the past is going to catch up with you in the present, then continue on your journey. And hopefully one day you'll find your truth. But if you're tired of that bullshit, you're over trying to be something that really has no value, then listen up. Separate yourself as soon as possible from people who engage in ignorant ass activity. When you see guys and they're proud of representing something that has no value, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? I don't blame a lot of the youngsters that do that because they've been tricked and then they keep believing the trick or drinking the juice. But if I could give you one piece of advice, is put that same energy into claiming your hood, your block, into learning how to invest, learning how to build relationships, and your education. If you repped your investments, your education, like you did your hood, you'd be a billionaire, man. You'd be a straight billionaire. I hear guys talking about, if anybody comes through my hood, if I see any of y'all out here, I'm robbing you. I'm robbing you. Oh man, we the real ones. We this and we doing this. And I'm like thinking like, man, you're between the ages of 17, 16 to 25. And you have so much drive to rob, shoot, kill somebody, take what they got, and you own nothing. You have nothing to show for it. And the thing is, when you get caught up, and it could be maybe for something stupid, ex-felon in possession of a firearm, you're going to lose life. And what I mean by lose life, you're going to lose time in your life. That window, whatever they decide to take, is part of your life gone. You can't get it back. But you're willing to invest in that rather than invest in your mind, invest in educating yourself, invest in getting into an environment where you can thrive and not have to look over your shoulder and worry about a hater trying to knock you down. I'm telling you this because I look back and I remember when I was a young knucklehead and I was into some stupid shit. And I wasn't dumb. I was still going to junior college and, I was still getting decent grades, but I didn't know, I didn't have no direction, man. I was kind of lost, man. Didn't know what my purpose was. And so when you don't have a purpose in particular, you do a bunch of random things to try to figure out what direction you should go in or what your truth is. And, a lot of times you don't find it till later. I'm still, on the path. I've done some things in my life, but I'm still, to a degree, exploring and learning and being a student of life. But as a young man, I'm trying to tell you, don't get tricked into giving up your life for something that means nothing at the end of the day. I don't care if it's a Rolex watch. I don't care if it's uh, a bag of drugs. I don't care if it's something to get your name on the set. I'm telling you, man, don't waste your life, because when you get older, you're young right now. I felt like a superhero when I was young, but when you get uh, more mature in your mentals, you will look back and be like, damn, man. And the guy you have so much anger towards, you were so quick to rob, so quick to steal, you realize, man, had I been in a different mind state, I might have been able to do some legitimate business with that guy. And people look at that, and your behavior and your record sometimes affects your ability to create new opportunities. I've had people not want to do certain things with me, maybe because they read about my past. All that stuff is public information. So once you start doing these things and you have this record and you've seen it, you go in and fill out an application, you're an ex-felon. Now you say they're being racist, they're hating on you. But I'm trying to tell you now, if you haven't got locked up, if you haven't put yourself in a situation where you've had to go lay down, you're blessed. To be honest, we should be praising the dudes who didn't go to prison. They should be the ones you look up to. They should be the ones you should be trying to sit down and have conversations with, learn from, and get your game from. Not the dudes who did all the time in the prison, who had a 2 or 3 year run in the D game. You need to be talking to the guys who stayed out, had loving families, sent their kids through private school, possibly college, and they have their own business. Those are the guys you should be looking at to possibly mentor you, because a lot of you young men, you're crashing out, man. And some I hear people sometimes say that the OGs have failed them. Failed them how? You know what I mean? I didn't have a lot of OGs that like laced me up, but I wasn't like, people were telling me to go sell dope or rob. These are choices I made. You got to take accountability for some of your actions too. Everybody wants to blame this guy, blame that person, blame, their parents. At some point, man, if you're hearing this, then you got to take accountability. You got to take responsibility. You can't blame no more, you know? And even myself, when people started telling me stuff, I was mad, but at the end of the day, when you get ready to do something, you feel in your heart like, man, this ain't right, or maybe I shouldn't do this, or you know what, I'm a pass. So you have a gut instinct, but you didn't follow it. Learn to follow that gut instinct, man. Learn to tune in to that sixth sense and make better choices in your life, man. Because you don't want to have to go through life looking over your shoulder. You want to live in a neighborhood where, if your door ain't locked, you ain't got to worry about somebody robbing you. You can walk around and people legally carry firearms. They're responsible. Your family members could walk down the street with their jewelry, not have to be, worried about being robbed. See, that's the thing. Like you're quick to rob somebody else for their shit, but what if they want to rob you for your shit? Is it fair play? Do you think that's cool? You rob somebody and then you think it just goes one way? The game never goes one way. It goes both ways. You rob and steal, somebody can rob and steal from you. You knock somebody down, they can knock you down. You beating up people, then you get caught up in a situation and get to tussling, and maybe you get beat up or get beat up in lockup. You think that, you did all this stuff, but you got to wait. But when somebody else does it back, you're a victim. You got to look at both sides of the coin, man. For everybody you terrorize, if you get knocked upside your head, you had it coming. It isn't just one way in life, man. And you can't scream victim every time it doesn't go your way. You play the game. Hey, man, it's a roll of the dice. You got a gun. It don't matter if you didn't want to use it. You can get popped. Oh, I wasn't trying. Well, you can get popped, man. That's part of the game. You play, there's rules to the game. So wisen up out there, be smart, man. Um, my whole purpose, man, is to save lives, man, to see people do better than what I did. And because I look at like, man, why did I have to go through everything I went through? And I knew that I was smarter than that. I was better than that, but I still did some dumb shit. And then afterwards sat there and had to marinate in it. And I'm thinking, because whatever the good that had been instilled in me, I wasn't tuned into it strong enough to listen to it enough to pull me away from the negative. The negative is very strong in the world. Darkness always seems very appealing. It's easy to think about, laying in a cut and just taking something from somebody, especially when you're being fed this through all type of subliminal messages, and you're just hearing things and the vibrations, and you get kind of harmonized with this low frequency, which is very dark and evil, man, and dangerous. But as you harmonize higher and get out of that, you become invisible to that type of life, man. You don't even see that. And that's why, some people, they like live in la la land, and they're like, wow, I've never seen that or heard of that, and when shit happens to them, they wonder like, wow, where did this come from? Because they're so far removed from that. One thing you have an advantage is having been through some of this stuff. When you get ready to get up out of there and you go to the other side, you'll be able to see things coming before they happen. And those street smarts could save your life. And being able to operate in a square environment as well as in the hood is a rare quality, man. And that's something you should capitalize on. But at the same time, man, know that the hood is not something that, those certain things in the hood is not going to change, man. Certain girls are going to have multiple baby daddies. They're going to keep letting people skeet up in them. Dudes are going to go raw. People pass around STDs. Kids is running around with no father figures. That some shit is just not going to change. You could talk about it, oh, blah, blah, blah. Look, man, you got to get around people who are a little bit more responsible. That's just life, man. I'm telling you, it is what it is. There's glass ceilings. People, oh, man, certain things they feel like they can't be accomplished because of where they're at. And they're going to always use that excuse. I mean, this is it. And so if you want to get out of that, you got to get around people who have limitless visions, where things seem like they're plentiful, and where your conversation is different. And that's just life. I've been around it, man. I've been around it. And it's like, at some points, man, you feel like, wow, this is it. And then you get around this other environment, you think, well, damn, this is going on. So figure out where you want to be in life, man. But one thing is, you don't want to have to look over your shoulder throughout life, man. It's not a good feeling, and there's so much more out there. And like I said, for the same amount of energy you're talking about, like, throwing your gang signs and banging and doing all this, man, do that in the books, man. Do that in the looking into investments or taking a trade, or do that. Use that same energy that you put into banging the hood and repping this and walking down some damn dirty alley. Put that energy into building your education, a skill set, and you'll be successful in life. That other stuff, man, do you want to be the old dude with the drink or and just still talking about stories? Is that where you want to be the rest of your life? Some people want to be there. Some people, man, by default were born into the hood and they make it out of it. Some people, they enjoy the hood. Some people are born in a nice place and they like the hood because it's grimy to them. They want to go over there and be down with all that stuff. So, it's not like everybody who wasn't in the hood, some of them, they want to be a part of it. They want to be down, and they came from a good background. So everybody has choices. Make the best choice for yourself. And like I said, I'm just talking, sharing. You don't have to take my advice. You can do what you want to do. If you want to bang the hood for the rest of your life, you want to rep that shit. If you want to end up going to the pen, doing a bunch of time and being able to say you went through this and did that, now you're OG, then hey, man, they got a junior G-man badge waiting for you. Otherwise, do something positive with your life, man, and get away from the bullshit. BigHerc916, subscribe, share.